certified case. Sucking on the tablets just to relocate a face.
Today on Gandie Slays, I'm Gandie, and we're sitting down with a guest who lives at the intersection of autism and bipolar. Someone who's mapped what it's like to grow up without the standard social manual and to keep navigating this terrain as an adult. This is a conversation about sensory memory, masking, recovery as daily work, and what humanity looks like when the typical checklist doesn't fit. This episode is honest, sometimes raw, and devoted to making space for experiences that don't fit neat boxes. Expect specific stories, practical insight, and real talk about what it takes to survive and to be human on your own terms. Let's dive right in. So, introduce yourself.
Well, like you said, I'm Dennis. I'm the host of the Bluntly Bipolar podcast. I have lived with bipolar disorder for 31 years. I spent 15 undiagnosed, and I've been in recovery for 16. And I've been living with autism since birth. I have a lot of knowledge and experiences of different things, but I just like to remind people that I'm just a mental patient with a microphone. So take everything I say with a grain of salt.
That's funny. So, can you break it down for us a little bit and explain what it was like growing up with your diagnoses?
Autism for me, I'm very much on the high end of the spectrum, and it didn't I don't have a lot of outward signs of it, like some people stim with hand rubbing or other physical things like that. So
Yeah.
when I would experience difficulties, the stimming that I would do often came down to I would retreat in with music, because audible stimming is a thing. So I'd listen to the same song on repeat, or I'd watch the same shows that I've watched 1,000 times before, because it's like a self-soothing mechanism. People with anxiety do that too,
Yeah.
because they know what to expect. But overall, I had a hard time. I had friends, but I had a hard time making friends. One thing I've noticed is that I can function very well at the different levels of connection with people. I can function as a random nobody, an enemy, a friend, a best friend, a lover, and so on. But what I struggle with is the gray area that connects those things,
Okay.
because that's a lot of nuance and trying to understand.
That makes sense. It's funny that you say that, because my cousin is he's diagnosed with autism as well, and one day I was babysitting him, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. He started playing with the vacuum cleaner, and I swear he made the coolest beat out of this vacuum that I've ever heard. I knew from that day on that he's a genius. He's a born genius, and I say that all the time about people with autism. They're just undiscovered geniuses.
Uh, I would disagree with that, because there's a lot of autistic people who don't have skills like that.
Everyone has a superpower. Come on. We all have superhuman strength and different abilities, I feel like.
That'd be nice, but no. I mean, if you link up with low functioning autistic people, they have a hard time just generally living their lives. There's nothing skillful or romantic about it. And the parents of those kids usually struggle a lot because of that stigma that, just because they're, neurodivergent, that, they must have some kind of specialness about them too. And no, sometimes it's just terrible. And the same thing with bipolar disorder. I really hate the romanticization of bipolar disorder.
Yeah. I'm diagnosed with manic bipolar, and I'm on the severe side of mania. I get super manic as well. And yeah, it's not all cracked up as you may think it is.
Yeah, see, I experience it in a different way. I'm type 2.
Okay.
I don't experience the full-blown mania, but instead I get hypomania and mixed cycles. And mixed cycles are a special kind of hell.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I can relate to that, just because, before I was stabilized on my medication,
Mhm.
I did not know. Like I was up and down within like minutes, sometimes hours.
Mhm.
But like it was terrible. It
Yeah.
was absolutely terrible.
Yeah. And the other thing I've noticed is like, because I was like involved in various like support groups and community stuff, and I've had a lot of conversations with people over the years. And one thing I've noticed is a lot of people focus on the euphoria because it sounds good.
Yeah.
No one wants to talk about the times where, you know, their loved one was terrified of them and had to call the cops, or even with like the romantic notion of, oh, you know, being a free spirit, just picking up and departing, but they leave out that they went $30,000 in debt, or that they left their spouse behind, or that they cleaned out the bank accounts,
Yes.
so, and lost everything in the process. Um,
Yes. That's great. It's
yeah,
so true. It's so true.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, have you ever experienced like going to the psych ward or anything like that?
I have not, but there are times in my life that I should have. Um,
Yeah.
I'm 46, and I'm from a very like kind of blue collar conservative-ish area, very much traditional masculinity. You don't talk about your problems, that sort of thing. So a lot of the times when I really needed to be inpatient, uh, particularly during two psychotic breaks during mixed cycles, I
Mhm.
wasn't around people that would have tried to force me that direction or would have talked to cops.
Okay.
So yes, I absolutely should have been. In hindsight, I definitely should have been on multiple occasions, but I haven't actually had to be. I haven't actually been inpatient myself.
I mean, that's I I don't know if to say that you're lucky or maybe it would have been helpful.
Yeah, God loves a fool.
Yeah. So like I don't know. I've been to the psych ward a few times,
Hmm.
and it's just. I meet some great people. Don't get it wrong. Like that's the best experience out of it all. But just the whole having to be there and stuck in just a single hallway, and not being able to do really anything or have anything. It's kind of traumatic, honestly.
Yeah, I can understand that. And on the flip side of the coin, with my psychotic episodes, I wasn't connected to reality. It would have been best for everyone if I had just been contained, where I couldn't do damage to myself or to anybody else.
Yeah, I can understand
Yeah,
that.
because like it, the psychotic episode that drove me to getting diagnosed, like I had to be treated for PTSD after it, because once you have like your whole reality, it's like, oh, you know, my whole reality can just change for
Yeah,
seemingly no reason.
right. And you have no control. No
Yeah,
control
no
sometimes.
control. It wasn't like how some people describe like sitting back and watching yourself do something. It was, no, this is the best idea I've ever fucking had. Why aren't you doing it right now?
Now.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great. So are you able to distinguish like the difference between like a autism breakdown and a manic bipolar or I apologize, a bipolar breakdown?
Yes, because I don't have that kind of that flavor of bipolar disorder, or that level of instability. It's also difficult to make those kinds of conclusions because our mental illness doesn't live in a vacuum. So if you have other issues like trauma or like a personality disorder or something like that, the emotional sensitivity could be coming from that.
Yeah.
Bipolar disorder is a mood disorder. It functions at that upper level. So like in my mind, it's very stratified. Like the because you have moods and then emotions exist within the mood. Like
Yeah.
like climate and weather. You know, if you're in a desert, you can expect it to be hot and sunny, right?
Yeah.
So with bipolar disorder, you know, it just kind of moves in a dominant direction, long and slow. Like my hypomanic cycles are like they used to be anywhere from 3 to 6 months long.
Oh wow.
My depressive cycles could be anywhere from 8 to 12 months long. And even when I'm not in a cycle like that, my baseline is still in depression. So it's very muted. But I do get volatile when I get escalated.
Yeah.
And it just it feels very different. Like usually the autism thing, it's kind of more of a buildup, whereas with the bipolar, like emotional instability from bipolar disorder is more like a, kind of like a light switch flipping.
Yeah. 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 So like, I don't know. Do you feel like you mask at all?
Yeah.
Like when, yeah. And how, like describe that for me. Like what is it like to mask for you?
Okay. Right now, when I'm talking to you, I'm making it a point to look at the camera, to look at your face, to look at your eyes, to read your body language, to see how you're sitting. And I'm judging, well, judging is not the right word. I am interpreting,
Analyzing. Yeah.
again?
I said analyzing, sorry.
Yeah, analyzing is a better point. And that way I can make educated guesses about what you're feeling, so that I can accommodate. It's similar with like the body language, like the hand motions I'm making right now are the result of a lot of habit because I accidentally taught myself how to mask when I was younger. And I've been doing it for so long that a lot of it is just rote. But the problem is it really makes it difficult in romantic relationships because when I'm not comfortable with somebody, I feel like I have to mask because I don't want to, offend them or hurt them or, do anything like that. So I pay a whole lot of attention, but that requires a lot of mental energy. But like when I'm with someone in a romantic relationship and I feel comfortable with them, I don't feel like I need to mask anymore. And there's only
Right.
two speeds for my brain. It's either zero or I notice everything. There's no in between. So it becomes a matter of you used to be so attentive and listening and all that, and it's like that's because I was masking. But I can't do that 24/7.
Yeah, so it just kind of ends up looking like you're quiet quitting.
Yeah, exactly. But the solution I found to that is just to be very intentional with how I conduct my relationships. Like I may not, I just make it clear, if I'm not masking, I'm not going to notice things. Tell me, and then I also like work like intentionality into the way I love too. So,
Like it really it makes me think because I think I mentioned this to you before when we were like doing the interview and stuff that like I think that I might have like a slight case of autism just
mhm.
because a lot of the things that you're describing right now I do tend to do and I don't know I don't know if it's because of like my other diagnoses or if I could potentially have some autism.
You can always get trained if you feel like it resonates.
Yeah, like I do like so I do the like intently paying attention to people and I agree as well like it does get exhausting after a while.
Mm.
It's a lot of work trying to like sit there and concentrate and pay attention to a person or anything
Mhm.
for an extensive period of time for me, but that's also because of the ADHD at times.
Yeah.
And then like I don't know, at certain textures and foods like I can't they weird me out.
Yeah, I've never had too much of a problem with physical sensory issues. A lot of mine are social and emotional, and it's very different. Uh, Even though I still do fall on the spectrum, but that's just the nature of mental illness. It can look drastically different from person to person.
Right. It's so interesting to me. So cool. Like so like what got you into like writing and like what got you into um like like how does your depression affect your writing?
Um, I fell in love with writing when I was about 10 years old, when I read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe for the first time. And I was like, I just love this. I love everything about this. So, like, I started young, but I only had through like 10th grade English because I went to a vocational school. So
Okay.
my writing isn't like super technically proficient, but I have such a developed writing voice from doing it for 31 years. But when it comes to the depression, it's not so severe anymore that that there are times when I can't do it. Um, Before, I just couldn't do it. My brain just didn't work. So I just couldn't. Really, that's all there is to it. Sometimes you just can't.
Yeah. Can you like describe that for me, like what that feeling was like, and what your process was for getting past that?
Um, the feeling is emptiness and numbness. Um, I don't know how far down your brain goes because a lot of people who have that primary manic component don't. Well, a lot of people isn't right. It's like 5% of people. They don't necessarily crash into depression. They just kind of crash back to normal functionality.
Okay.
Whereas my depression is like being buried in a tomb under the Marianas Trench. That's how black it is. And when I'm in that mental space, I just can't do anything except for stare at the wall.
Yeah. That does not sound fun. This is,
No, and really the only thing I drank and did drugs. I mean, there's no other way to put it. I did drugs. I picked fights with people. I did all kinds of very unhealthy, not cool things
yeah.
just to try and feel something. And,
Yeah.
you know, and the only thing that I ever really clung to, or that I ever could really cling into up until I would have like a suicide attempt, was just the knowledge that, bipolar disorder kind of promises things will change.
Yeah.
For bipolar disorder and manic depression, it was called the circular disease because it's a cycle.
Seriously.
So sooner or later, this depression's going to break, and I just have to survive until that point.
I really like that outlook. I've never thought of it like that,
Yeah,
but I really like that.
yeah,
Like it too shall pass. Like
yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, because it's when you're in that kind of black mental space, even a minute feels like years. So it's like, is this ever going to end? Is this ever going to end? And then it's just a reminder of, oh yeah, it will end. That's what bipolar disorder does. It fluctuates. So I just have to
Yeah.
survive. I have you ever read Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl?
I am not.
Okay, so
Should I?
Viktor Frankl was a Jewish doctor who was in the concentration camps, and the whole premise of the book, well, there's various themes that he explores, but the main premise of the book is we are challenged to change when we can't change our situation. Change ourselves if we can't change our situation. Now, I couldn't change that I was depressed, but what I could do was cling to this fact that, if he could survive through that horror that he went through, if I can just keep going, I can survive my own brain.
Yeah.
But of course, that doesn't always work because sometimes you can't necessarily rely on being able to think. Like when I'm in that kind of mental space, I can't even do basic addition in my head.
Yeah.
Like 4 plus 5. I almost got in a car accident once because of it too.
Man.
Because I was driving and someone hit a red light had changed, and my brain saw the red light, went okay, red light, and then the car in front of me braked, and I said okay, brake lights, apply the brakes. And then like 5 seconds later, I hit the brakes. So like there's a 5 second lag between each one of those steps.
Yeah.
And you can't wait 20 seconds to brake when someone is in front of you.
No, you can't.
So sometimes all you can do is just write it out.
Yeah, journaling's good. Or like I like to journal.
Yeah.
I stopped for a while there, but I picked it back up recently, and it's been really cathartic for me.
Yeah. Journaling is a great tool. I used it a lot when I was first diagnosed to sort things. Just
Yeah.
sitting down with a pen, helps you process.
Yeah, it does. Like I like doing like positive affirmations too,
Mhm.
because they like I especially like before I do like the podcast recordings and everything, I list 5 affirmations just to get my confidence boosted up. Because I get so anxious before I have to do these, and then I'm just like, ah. So, but do you think that like sometimes your bipolar overpowers or overshadows the autism, or do they like kind of work hand in hand, or like what's your
Honestly,
stance on
I think it can go either way, and I think they exist in tandem together.
that?
One interesting thing that I've noticed is I've been able to logic my way out of unwell cycles before. Like before they really, because they're like a train taking off from a station. You know, they start off slow, and if you identify it early and pull the brake on it, or like do things to not feed the unwellness, you can kind of
Yeah.
slow it down and stop. So there have been times where I've picked up like, oh, I'm only sleeping 4 hours a night, or I feel more aggressive or arrogant than normal, and
Mhm.
then I'm like, okay, that means I'm probably cycling. And then every time I find myself I don't know how yours functions, but when I start getting unwell, my brain just starts moving. But I find that if I interrupt the movement or try and like push back against it in the opposite direction, it can actually stop and I can force crash my brain. It's got about a
Yeah.
50-50 success rate. So it's not reliable, but
That's good though. You're better than me, honestly, because I know like when. So I don't want to say that I'm addicted to the mania,
mhm.
but it definitely,
there
definitely can be.
that's actually a thing.
Yeah, it like I don't know. It just fills me with like so much uh, satisfaction sometimes.
Mhm.
And I know before like I got stable on my meds, like I used to rage out all the time because I was addicted to that anger and feeling good and just being powerful.
Yeah.
And it just got me nowhere but a bunch of conflicts and issues with people. So I commend you for that because I'm still working on trying to find that stop button and
Yeah. Yeah.
reset.
For me, it's kind of the opposite. I get very unpleasant when I'm escalated.
Yeah.
Arrogant, combative, aggressive, and I'm a 6'4" man. That's not a good combination.
It's not.
No. So it's very much a matter of I can't be out of control of myself like that.
I mean, we can slap box if you want. I'm kidding. You'd probably whoop me. um, so without the romantic lens of an artist, how do you logically approach your mental health? Is recovery for you more like system maintenance or a spiritual journey?
uh, System maintenance mostly. I
Yeah.
don't believe in intertwining spirituality with mental illness. Um,
Why is it?
well, because when I was psychotic and it first emerged, I was having conversations with God and
Okay.
that sort of thing. But the bigger thing is it it runs contrary to what a lot of spirituality teaches. Because like what do like religions and esoteric beliefs tell you? They tell you to get quiet, go out in nature, pray, meditate, silence yourself to hear the divine. But mania is not silent. Mania is loud. And there have been events in my life that I can't tie to psychosis, that I can't rule out as being spiritual events. But every time I've had one, it's always been very quiet. Um, it's felt more like feeling sunshine on my face than it has standing in a raging inferno. And the other issue is you have a lot of people who talk about how they want to get their spiritual connection back by being manic. Well, if you can only get your spiritual connection back by being manic, maybe it's not spiritual. Maybe it's just mania, you know?
I've never heard that before.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a thing in the recovery communities, in the bipolar communities.
that's great. Oh
Because
man.
people, they love the feeling of euphoria. It feels, apparently, it feels spiritual, but
I guess.
yeah, But there's also some confusing language there too, especially for us, because in the context of recovery, they don't, when they say spiritual health, like in the context of holistic health, they don't
Mhm.
mean religious. They mean
No.
intangible. They mean like creating art or music.
Yeah.
And that is not immediately obvious to like
No, it's not.
anyone. It's terrible
No.
messaging.
Yeah. I like. Did you go to meetings and stuff like that to
Yeah,
get
I did.
clean, or
Yeah, I
you
did.
did?
Mhm.
That worked out for you?
It taught me, sort of. I've always had the problem where I feel like I'm sitting in a bubble apart from everybody else. You know, very standard like autism thing. And really, the thing that I took most about it, took from those meetings the most, was hearing from other people and what they were going through, but also seeing how useless a lot of like the facilitators and shit were. Because like I remember the first couple meetings that I went to, you know, there were people that were asking very distinct questions that probably had answers, and our counselor that was overseeing it was just kind of shrugging her shoulders the whole time. It's like,
Yeah.
why the fuck are you here? You know?
Yeah. Just to get a paycheck. No fucks given.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah,
like,
they don't care.
yeah. I mean, even now, it's hard to be bitter about that because of how underpaid and overworked these people are too. Like my last therapist had 3 jobs.
Oh wow.
Yeah, 2 jobs and a side hustle. And like,
That's
yeah, you can't. I don't know about your area, but where I live, counselors start at like $15, $16 an hour.
I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I'm in Pittsburgh, but I'm not sure.
yeah, yeah. With a master's degree, that's not. I made that unloading trucks.
That's terrible. I mean, no, that's good for you, but like that putting it that in perspective, like that's wow.
Yeah, it's capitalists taking advantage of compassionate fields to pay less, essentially,
Yeah, man,
which is
that's
a
crazy.
common thing.
So like you went through like, did you go to like a NA or AA or just rehab or like what?
No, I went to a lot of bipolar support groups, mental health
Okay,
support groups. I never actually met the criteria for being an addict or an alcoholic, though. I only very sporadically used.
okay,
I was a substance abuser, but I didn't have a substance abuse disorder, which is
okay,
an addiction. So, like, when I'm well and stable, like, I still occasionally drink and smoke pot now, every once in a while. And, but, I can do that. I can drink 3 times a year and be fine and not fall down the rabbit hole. But like I do come from a family of alcoholics, so that was a concern for me.
yeah,
But yeah, I abuse substances, but I could pick them down and put them up. And I think the only thing that really saved me though is because I was abusing opiates for a while there. But after
yeah.
like after like a couple months, I was like, I can't keep doing this, or I'm just gonna go straight down the hole. So
And like with opiates too, like I feel like it's hard just because of the physical addiction that you get.
mhm.
Like I know for me, like when I got clean, it wasn't so much like a mental addiction. It was just like the physical. Like once I got through the physical stuff, I was good. I was good to go.
Yeah,
But like I was addicted to meth as well, and that was like I'm gonna be honest. I have going on 5 years clean in February with that, and I still struggle
yeah.
with that. Like especially around my birthday because that's when I would mess up the most. Like I could so my cravings get out of control sometimes, but it is what it is.
Yeah. But hey, congrats on almost 5 years. That's awesome.
Yeah, thank you. um, so do you feel like being like with you being neurodivergent, does that make you feel more human? Because you constantly have to choose how to interact with the world every single day.
I think I struggle with the idea of what does more human entail. And the reason why is because I've mentioned it a couple times, but arrogance is a symptom of hypomania for me. I turn into a colossal asshole. I know I'm an intelligent person, and if I don't check myself, it gets bad. So when I think of something like more human, I don't, I can't really envision myself as being any better than any other person, which that kind of implies. But I'm also not less than other people either. So I, I'm not really sure how to interpret the question, honestly. What does it mean for you to be more human?
For me personally, how I take the question is just I immediately go to my emotions and my feelings.
Mhm.
So because being hypersensitive with the diagnosis and everything, I feel like I don't want to say I'm better, like, because it's not that I'm better than anybody, but I feel as though I could potentially be more human because I am so sensitive to things,
Mhm.
and I do feel like I feel my emotions more greatly at times than other people.
Mhm.
So I just took it that way, that it deals with like the human expression, whether like that maybe like even just creating something like along those lines, like
Mhm.
how much energy and effort is being placed into the process.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's an interesting question because, like, for me, I'm also psychologist also told me that I'm low empathy, which again is a terrible conversation for being a large man and arrogance and all that. And the thing is I find it very beneficial because, like, when I was like really doing like volunteer work and helping facilitate groups and stuff like that, I realized that I can watch suffering and not really feel anything, which makes it
Yeah.
much easier for me to sit with people and hold space with them in dark places.
Right.
So does my disconnection from humanity make me more human because I'm able to sit with people in these spaces? Or, and like even with my art, I don't create art out of, a beautiful, vibrant inspiration. I choose to make something and then I make it, just like a
Yeah.
carpenter building a chair. So I think it's an interesting question depending on who's answering it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It is like like even when I like originally first read it and was thinking about like what I was going to discuss with you, I was hung up on it for a second, and I was like, no, this is going to be good. This like I was genuinely interested to see what your response was going to be for this question. But yeah, I don't know. Like if you could talk, not talk, if you could tell everybody out there like one like nugget of advice, what would you say?
The power of the words for me. Okay. One big, 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 big issue in the mental health and recovery spaces is everyone is out giving advice about things. Oh, you have to be on medication. You have to do this. You have to attend meetings. You have to go to therapy. What I've come to realize is that a lot of people who say those things are expressing what they need, not what is generally good. In the same way that mental health professionals give us very general advice because that's all they can give us. They can't unless we are there, like when you tune into like a YouTube video of a doctor generally talking about bipolar disorder, they can only talk about it generally because my experience with bipolar disorder is vastly different than yours, and vice versa. But even though we're still unified by these symptoms and this diagnosis, it's very, very different. So if you're going into like meetings and listening to people talk, or someone comes at you like, "Oh, you need to do this and you need to do that," if you just keep in mind that they're probably talking about what they need or what their loved one needs, it becomes much less confusing because then you can go into it and go, "Am I hearing something that I need?" If
Yes.
there's no, then it's no. Like, I don't need maintenance therapy. I'm a very problem solution oriented person when it comes to therapy. I don't want to sit around
Yeah.
and talk about my feelings and process my feelings. If I want to process my feelings, all right. Um,
Yeah.
so I would say that's probably the biggest thing because there's so much with all the information out there and the people who don't understand that they shouldn't make blanket statements like that. They can be harmful to people who are new Because if you're new, you don't know what's good information and what's not. Because I know that if I had listened to the advice I got when I was first diagnosed, I probably would have killed myself. So, yeah, it was the medication question. Do you really think you need that? What about the long-term effects? And in my head, I'm like, the long-term effects aren't going to matter if I end up in jail next week or dead, you know?
Yeah, it's
So
true.
it's wellness and recovery is a very personal process. And the only universal truth that I ever like will express is if you're going to take medication, make sure you take that shit as directed, because it will
Yeah,
fuck your life up in quick, fast, in a hurry.
it will. Like I hate being a guinea pig.
Yeah,
Like that's what I call it. Like being a guinea pig to try to figure out the medications and everything. It's terrible.
yeah, it sucks.
But like my favorite saying is if it don't apply, let it fly.
Yeah, that's very appropriate.
Yeah, that just crossed my mind with you saying that. Um, so I guess like since you've spent your life navigating a world that feels too loud and a mind that feels too heavy, what does it truly mean to be human when the standard version of humanity doesn't fit you?
Maybe it's my literal writer brain, but I don't agree with the idea of a standard vision of humanity. Because like
Okay.
currently, like here in the United States, we have this paradigm that's rooted in toxic masculinity and patriarchy. And there are a lot of people that would argue that aspects of that are what it means to be, human. But on the other side of the coin, you start getting into like what people can provide. So where does that leave like disabled people or sick people? Are they less human because their bodies are failing them or their mind doesn't work right? No.
No.
Um, I think the only real unification or unifying factor that there can be is just service to other people. Uh, it's the only thing that doesn't need to have strings attached or performance attached to it. It's something that literally anyone can do. Even if it's just like helping some senior like load their groceries in their car or something. If you're not doing, major things or even just surviving. I mean, because again, it comes back to, even that is what can I do for other people? And sometimes
Right.
people can't, and that's okay. Um, and they need space too, and their humanity needs to be respected too.
That's true. That is absolutely true. Wow. Well, I really loved discussing all this with you. And
Yeah.
I hope that everybody out there listening and watching enjoys this episode as well. It's been another great episode with Gandie Slays. I'm Gandie.
I'm Dennis.
And don't forget to like, subscribe, and we will see you guys on another episode. Bye!